Jordan Poole, he still hasn't spoke, which is the elephant in the room. We all want to hear from JP. However, Steve Kerr last night said, Jordan Poole's going to be with us for a long, long time.
Made me feel good to hear that.
It did.
B, you've heard me bring this up many, many times. I'm a big believer in, how do you react to adversity?
Right.
The person who was born into wealth and went to all the best schools and all that, they can have success, and that's incredible. The person who's born with nothing, who drags themselves and uplifts themselves out of poverty and has been fighting adversity their entire life, I prefer those stories. That's just me, right? That's how I operate. And I always look at, when times are going well, everybody can have a happy marriage. What's it like when you start to struggle? Right? What's it like? Right. Steph Curry could have easily bailed from this organization after a 15-win season. Yep. Didn't say boo-hoo. KD leaves. Everybody's out. It's a nightmare. I judge Steph that winning that championship based off the adversity of the years prior, it elevates Steph for me. How does Jordan Poole react moving forward to this situation?
Well, he looks unfazed, and you heard from Kevon Looney last night where he basically said Jordan is the same. He never gets too up, he never gets too down. The fact that he got punched into practice and finished off that practice getting up extra shots says a lot about Jordan Poole.
I agree.
The next day, same thing. He's there early. He's in the weight room. Steve Kerr talked about it last night, that he's become one of the strongest players on the team, putting in the work in the weight room to get better on defense. That everybody's like, oh, well, you can replace Jordan Poole because he doesn't play defense, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jordan Poole's working on that. But, again, I posed this question to Willard and Dibbs. How many guys could play off the ball, just from a basketball sense for a second?
X's and O's.
How many guys could play off the ball in this league? We know Steph Curry can. We know Jordan Poole can.
Well, and
how many others, like Damian Lillard, can't play off the ball?
At all.
People in Portland will tell you he needs the ball in his hands. Look at Doncic. Right now, he can't play off the ball.
At all.
James Harden. We know he can't play off the ball.
Such a great point.
Kyrie Irving, can he play off the ball? I think if he wants to, but he doesn't.
Paul George can at times, but he's better with the ball in his hands. Hence, when Kawhi went away, he actually was better for that team because now he can be a facilitator.
No doubt.
You're right. There's very, very few guys, and there's very few up-and-coming young players
who can play off the ball.
Who can play off the ball. If you look, the majority of them are ball dominant.
Yep.
So you're 100% right there. But B, how Jordan reacts to this? Does he sulk? Does he? Well, and I look at.
Last night's game, I know it was only preseason.
He looked fantastic.
It didn't look like he was sulking.
No, but does he hold a grudge? Is it weird? Is it awkward? And I think he might not even know. He might not even know how he's going to react because he probably hasn't been around him right now. But I do believe we're going to learn a lot about the maturity level of Jordan Poole this week.
No doubt.
And it's interesting because
I think
he's
going to speak.
He is. And I'm very interested to hear his perspective on the entire situation. And I think he can ingratiate himself not only to that locker room and the organization as a whole, but I think this fan base with how he reacts to this situation. Does he turn the other cheek? It takes a strong individual. I don't know if I could.
Yeah, I don't know. Tuesday, October 11th, is when the Warriors will host the Portland Trail Blazers. And speaking of the Blazers, got some very interesting Damian Lillard sound. Did you hear what Dame Dollar had to say over the weekend?
I didn't.
We'll get that going in a second. Here's Draymond Green. And this is a little long. This is about 1:35, so everybody stay patient. Matt, Smitty, P will get to you. Just hang tight. Here's Draymond Green on his feelings towards Jordan Poole.
I love Jordan Poole. That's my guy. Like I said to Jordan, I will still ride for Jordan. I still advocate for Jordan. I will still do anything that I can to make Jordan's job easy, to make Jordan look good, to get him the things that he wants out of basketball that I can help from a teammate's perspective. That's that. My feelings towards Jordan does not change. It's a reason Jordan's locker is next to mine from day one. And that has changed a little bit. That dynamic has changed a little bit. It's on me to make that right and get it back, But as far as my feelings for Jordan goes, I'm the guy who supported Jordan when he was sent to the G League bubble when no one thought he had a chance. I'm the guy calling him, hey, man, you should be doing this, or good game. That's me. That don't change at all. My love is real. Love don't just go by the wayside. My love is there. My love ain't going nowhere. So I will continue to support him, help him where I can, lead him. And in saying that, like I said, I know leading comes with a responsibility that I dropped the ball on. And you have to rebuild the trust in that. But if I see Jordan doing something wrong, I'm going to help Jordan because that's the right thing to do. And if you don't care about Jordan, you don't help. You just watch him do it wrong. So my love for Jordan don't change one bit. Continue to move forward, continue to do all I can to help him. And as far as, like I said, as far as a personal relationship goes, we will figure that out as we go, as he's ready on his terms or not. That is solely up to Jordan. But as far as my love for Jordan, that don't change one bit.
All right, that was about a minute 35. But
the one thing I don't hear in there is that he needs to make some changes. Like, I don't think he understands that. Yeah. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze Draymond Green. I'm not pretending to be Dr. Phil. I'm really not. I'm just saying, I've been in relationships where I'm the one who did something wrong, and I could love you and have your back for years, but you also have to acknowledge you did something wrong, and you have to change your behavior. And you have to understand and acknowledge that, Jordan Poole's the one who's been scorned here, not you. And I just don't know, what his actions are going to be, or how he's going to be received. It just...
Well, he did say this.
Draymond, the vibes I get, and I'll let you finish. The vibes I get from Draymond is part denial, part diffusing and deflecting, and those are classic when you're an abuser of substance, or when you're in a situation and you're the one that needs to go through therapy. Those are the key things that most people suffer from.
Well, he did say early in the press conference that he was going to take a few days to work on himself, and to get help or whatnot. So it was there in that 40 minutes. I thought for the most part it was remorseful.
No, of course.
Again,
I agree with you there.
You just said something last segment where a segment of the fan base is not going to be happy with anything. Some people want Draymond gone.
Yes.
Some people don't think Draymond can come back.
Yes.
Some people think Draymond did nothing wrong.
Yes.
Some people think this is overblown. Some people, they're going to be critical of it. So some people are going to hear what Draymond has to say and say, yeah, that's all BS. That's all BS. What I took away from Saturday, from listening to him, I saw a man up there, because I looked at his body language. I saw a guy up there who knows he's screwed up. I saw a guy who knows that, you know what, the Warriors can make a decision, and I'm going to have to live with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to live with it. I would like to be part of ring night, but I don't know if I'm going to be part of ring night because of what I did. So I do think there was some accountability there from Draymond Green. Now, there was some verbiage where you're like, well, the audio, if you would have heard the audio, you're like, whoa. Just don't even say that.
That's the deflecting part, yes.
Don't even say that. But his love for Jordan Poole was there. Here's what Looney said. This was very interesting. Looney's been there since 2015.
And this was last night after the game.
Yep, last night. 2016, with Kevon Looney. Last night after the game, Looney's voice has become louder in that locker room, especially after a postseason performance to remember last year.
He's earned it.
He's earned it. His IQ's really good. He plays hard, played every game last year, and he's got the respect of the vets in Iguodala and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Here's Kevon Looney on Draymond Green after the game, asked by Anthony Slater.
It's been different. It's been complicated. There's something. We done had a lot of things happen here in my time, but a lot of things usually get to stay in house, and we get to handle it most of the time like that. So it's a little different with it being out in the public and all the outside commotion, weighing in on people's decision on what people think. So it's difficult, but I think we got the leadership and the right people to get through it. Whenever adversity hits, this team usually responds the right way, and this is the ultimate test for us, and I think we're going to be able to get through it. Jordan, he's going to work and do what he's going to do, and Draymond, he's a veteran. He's been the leader on his team for a reason, and he got some work to do to get that trust back from us, but I think he's willing to do it. So
he's got some work to do to get that trust back from us. And Looney said he hasn't spoken to Draymond Green yet. He wants to talk to him one-on-one. Yeah. Got to remember, Kevon Looney's from Milwaukee. JP looks at Kevon Looney as a big bro from Milwaukee.
They're very tight, right?
They're very tight with that. So, that affected Looney in some way. And a lot of players, Marcus Thompson wrote a great article in The Athletic, Friday, basically saying that a lot of players saw that punch for the first time via the TMZ video. And a lot of players were disappointed on that basketball team after seeing that punch.
I want to get to that real quick. Looney doesn't talk often where he's saying something of this magnitude. And I always, the people that talk the least, those are the ones I do like to hear from, because what few things they say, I think, are even more powerful. And I look at what Looney said there, like he has to work back to get his trust. That was powerful to me, to hear that. Clearly Kevon Looney felt upset. Now, the video portion, this is interesting. If you watch on the video, it does look like everybody's looking at the bowl, which is in the other direction of where the incident happened.
Right.
whenever I've been in an altercation or seen an altercation, you and me will all be gossiping afterwards, right? And the brain does weird things where you think you see something you didn't. Maybe you missed the angle, wasn't as good, or whatever it is. Then you see it back in video and you can replay it over and over and over from a particular angle. It does resonate more.
Yeah.
You see things that maybe you didn't see in real time. You see angles. You feel certain things. You can slow it down. So to hear that the players went back and they watched it, that doesn't surprise me at all, B. Does that surprise you?
No, absolutely not. And some people are like, well, the players on the court didn't do anything. Because Jordan Poole and Draymond probably talk trash all day, every day at practice. So it's probably just another day at the office for a lot of these guys. And so for it to come to that punch, nobody expects their teammates to punch their lights out, man.
No.
When you're getting into an altercation. You see it so many times in the NBA. How many times during an NBA game do we see other teams pushing each other and nobody's throwing blows? Nobody's throwing blows. Barkley always says, hey, man, these are all love taps. These guys are lovers, not fighters or whatnot. So nobody expected that on that team. So you got to credit all these dudes.
And I would say to the video portion of it, of guys not seeing it, the imagination, the mind plays tricks. Like when we first heard the report, B, there was an altercation,
right.
And what was it? Indirect blow? What was the exact phrase that they used?
I forget. The forcefully struck.
I
thought it was struck.
Okay.
Yeah. Struck.
So in my mind, again, this is my mind because it's so cloudy. I'm thinking there's a bunch of guys in between. Maybe Dre took a swing over 3 or 4 guys. He kind of caught him on the side of the head or whatever. That looked like it was so clear when you see the video, and it wipes away all of the confusion and the inconsistency in your mind or whatever your imagination.
It looks bad.
And you just see it.
It looks bad.
And then you can watch it over and over and over and over again.
Before we get to the calls, because I want to get your thoughts on this. Actually, let's take a couple calls.
I thought Steve Kerr's reation was the most interesting.
I want you to hear from Dame Dollar in just a second, but let's get to some calls here. Let's get to P in Richmond, then we'll get to KC and Smitty. P, what's happening? He's listening on the radio. What's up, P?
What's up with y'all? I'm good. I'm trying to touch on the Draymond situation.
Yep.
I think it's being blown out of proportion. I think this thing is getting dragged over too long. It's a big deal in some sorts of ways, but I think it's mostly a big deal because it's Draymond and everybody's trying to paint this thing out for him being a villain and everything because people are saying, if you was raised this way, if you wasn't raised this way, when somebody put their hands on you, you do this or you do that. But like I said, nobody's talking about the whole fact that Poole put his hands on him first. Like I said, I know this is $1 billion company and this and that, but if it is, then why are we not talking about why would you even put this man? Poole could have stepped back. He could have been like, all right, this basketball, we trashed over.
Well, Draymond physically put his chest on him first. Can we acknowledge that?
Yes, we can. But look, though, like you said, this is basketball. How many times do you see guys chest bumping in the basketball?
Well, chest bumping is a far cry from swinging on someone in the jaw. And I would argue this, let's take Draymond out of it. Quindary Weatherspoon hits Jordan Poole like this. You think he's still on this team?
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Let's get to Smitty in Lafayette listening on the radio. Smitty, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I don't know anybody in any type of work that gets a freebie.
Yeah.
Nobody gets a free punch. That's just the bottom line, no matter what line of work you're in.
Agreed.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, KC and Marin listening on the Odyssey app. Then we'll get back to the Niners in a second. KC, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Gentlemen,
Hey, Casey.
good morning. I think Dre is a GOAT. I think he's a unicorn. That being said, I didn't think this was anything of significance, even seeing the video until Draymond spoke. It gave me a little bit of weird chills. It sounded like an abusive person and how they justified striking her.
Call us back, Casey. You're breaking up a little bit.
He was getting to the point that he thought it sounded, I'm not saying this is what I felt, but he thought it sounded like an abusive deflection, I guess, essentially was the summation of his call.
I don't want to go that strong. I
think you can't throw that word around.
Yeah, I'm not going
flippantly, and I understand where he's going with that, but I'm not going to go that far.
I'm not going there. And this is something nasty that I saw. And why does it have to go there? I saw people tweeting at me saying, and texting me, it's like, do you think Draymond has an abusive relationship inside his home? No.
Whoa.
Let's
That's
let's
not
pump
fair.
the brakes.
That's not
not
fair.
fair at all.
That's
Let's
not
just
fair.
debunk that. That's not fair to Hazel. That's not fair to his kids. That's not fair to Draymond Green. All right? Draymond Green's a good dude. I see the way he operates with his kids, all right? Day-Day has some things that he's done in the past, but that's not fair. That's ridiculous. Let's pump the brakes on that. But I want to play something for you because it's an outside perspective of another player in the NBA.
Okay.
And that is Damian Lillard. We know he's tight with Draymond. We know they were in the Olympics together in Tokyo, Japan. And Dame Dollar, obviously Oakland's own, has always got some thoughts on something. Where here's what Damian Lillard had to say about the situation between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. Very interesting.
You know, B, I find it interesting that people that are so public, meaning NBA players, I mean, every walk of their life, they go fill up their gas and somebody's taking their phone out to record them. Everybody's so livid about the video being released. And I'm like, everything that you guys do is going to be recorded and amplified. Now, I'm not exonerating the video being leaked. That is clearly an organizational issue. But to think in 2022 things aren't going to get out feels a little naive to me.
Now, we apologize to everybody on YouTube and Twitch who couldn't hear that audio. We're getting some tweets and texts about that. Sorry, but basically Damian Lillard said Jordan Poole needs to walk away from the situation, basically knowing that he needs to protect himself at all times, and Draymond needs to take away from the situation that, hey, I need to walk away and not punch a teammate. But it was very interesting. Protect yourself at all times. A lot of people think about that. Let's get to Wayne and then Alex, and then we'll get back to the Niners here as they beat the Carolina
huge
Panthers.
Win for the
big
Niners.
Time win. And
huge.
So first place in the NFC West. Wayne and Hayward listening via the radio. What's up, Wayne? What's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey guys, good morning, Rose guys. First time caller, long time listener. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Real quickly, the point I wanted to make: this was workplace violence. So what's the difference between what happened with Draymond, what he did, and the coach for the Boston Celtics, what he did? He got suspended for a whole year because it was a workplace violation. Shouldn't assault and battery be at least equal to that? That's just my question, guys.
See, that's where I think it's really tough for everyone to come down on I don't know what the appropriate adjudication is in this situation. I don't know.
Warriors don't.
I mean, if this were another organization and not the Warriors, I still don't know what the punishment or if any should be. I really don't. And I think it's up to that locker room, not kangaroo court, because that's kind of something that we flippantly throw around. But, it is up to them to kind of come to some amicable agreement. Not everyone's going to be on the same page, but you have to come up with something that satisfies everyone involved. And that's where I go back to Jordan Poole. Without hearing him, without knowing what his perspective is, how can any of us begin to know what's appropriate?
No doubt. Let's go to Alex in Livermore listening via the Odyssey app, and then we'll move back over to the 49ers here. Alex, what's happening? You're on the roast.
What's happening, fellas? Long-time listener. I've been listening for years to you guys.
Thank you.
Especially you, Bonte.
Thank
you. I just think this whole thing's been blown way out of proportion. First off, there was no quote-unquote sucker punch thrown. They were facing each other. He pushed off on the dude's chest, and he shouldn't have thrown at him, but it happened. It's being blown out of proportion like it's some kind of soap opera. This is basketball, man. This isn't touchy-feely. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just ridiculous. Let these dudes figure it out between themselves, and then let's move on. Let's get that chip. What are we talking about?
Well, what if they can't figure it out between the two of them. I think that's the big thing, and it feels like just listening to Steve Kerr and Kevon Looney, who are the two other people besides Draymond that we've heard talk, and Steph Curry, I don't know if those guys are ready to move on.
I don't know. I mean, how would you move on? That's what I want the callers and the roasters to think about. How would you move on after being punched? Put yourself in that position.
Or someone that you care about or work with.
Me personally, when somebody breaks my trust, I have a hard time moving on. And I have a hard time looking at that.
I think a lot of people do, B. I think a lot of people. You scorn me.
Physically, I'm done with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Done with you.
Yeah.
Done with you. I've lost many friends. Screw me over, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Just like that. I don't get over those things.
Mm-hmm.
They're always in the so. How can I sit here and just tell Jordan Poole, hey, man, get over the punch? It happens. It always happens. Even on the playground, if it happened, you're not going to play basketball with that person again, or you're going to try to destroy him every time you see him.
We all have egos, especially in this industry. Imagine what the egos are in an NBA locker room.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I think it's really easy to say turn the other cheek. It's a lot harder to actually execute that on a daily, minute-by-minute basis.
I agree.
Especially when hyper-competitive egos are involved at the highest level of competitive sports.
Well said. Well said. Mike B, go across the table, punch Bonte. Let's see how easy it is to
That's
move
what I'm
on.
saying.
Yeah, we wouldn't move on. We wouldn't be doing the show no more. We'd be done. Shelf life on the morning roast would be over. Straight up. By the way, download the Odyssey app, 95.7 The Game, thousands of other stations, and millions of podcasts are free on the Odyssey app. Sports talk, music, news, and podcasts are all available completely free. You can catch every single Warriors game live on the app along with all the music news in the Bay Area needs. Follow your favorite teams, stations, radio shows, and podcasts now by downloading the free Odyssey app.
I know we want to get back into the 49ers, and we will. All right, I know it's a Victory Monday, and people don't want to feel negative, and Jimmy played great. The defense looks great. A little bit of injuries that we can get to in a second. To me, the most powerful things said over the weekend were the no comments by Steve Kerr.
Wow.
So I'd like to play that for those that maybe didn't
Do we
hear
have
it.
that? I don't know if we have that right now.
Okay.
We'll
they were
pull that
asking
up.
a question. I was listening to Steve Kerr.
Saturday, he basically was like, no comment. He was not talking about anything. About trusting, about what's going to happen here. He had nothing to say.
There was a sequence of questions that were asked to him directly about Draymond Green and the trust that he has in that locker room, where his trust factor is with Draymond Green, meaning Steve Kerr's. And, we've seen Steve Kerr pretty irate over politics stuff at a podium, Very few times have I seen him that dismissive and that angry and upset over basketball, over his team. And that, to me, was kind of like the most powerful things that I felt over the weekend. Now, that doesn't mean that Dre can't come back to the team. I don't know. That doesn't mean that Dre can't be an integral part of them winning, this month or this week or whatever. It felt like to me like, damn, felt like Steve Kerr had enough.
Well, that and leak, the fact that it got out, and they had to answer more questions because Thursday he sat up there at the presser and discussed what happened. But they also say, I've been around 32 years. I've seen many fights, blah, blah, blah.
A lot of people have said that.
A lot of people said that.
Which I'm sure there are.
Saturday, I think seeing it again, because he probably didn't see it live either. A lot of players didn't see it live. Maybe he didn't see it live. Maybe he didn't have a good vantage point. To see that video surface the way it did, it embarrassed Jordan Poole. And I think Kerr felt empathy for Jordan Poole, and he felt anger. Felt anger about the entire situation. But I think a powerful quote was last night when he said, Jordan Poole, he's someone we are going to rely on for many years to come.
That felt like, he's got Jordan's back fully. Not that it's an either or, but it felt like he's got Jordan's back fully, which is great to hear.
Right.
And B, that an extension is in the works,
right.
And it feels like it's inevitable, which made me feel even better because we need Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole's he's just not a guy you could just replace.
How he had a sequence last night that was just so sick.
He's not a guy that you could just replace. The pick and roll, the pick and pop with James Wiseman, the two-man game. This guy gets to the cup, he gets to the free throw line, he creates for others. There's not many players who create for others in this league.
Bonte, you know how much I wanted to come in here, talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, 49er defense, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. being a complete revelation? Wiseman looking special? I wanted to talk about all of those things.
Yeah, nobody likes to talk about soap opera stuff. It's not even a soap opera. It's something that's happening in our backyard. And face it or not, Warrior fans, roasters, everybody out there, it's the biggest story in sports.
I know.
It's the biggest story in sports. Just doesn't happen like that. So
Stephen A. Smith hasn't even had a chance to react to it because he was off on Friday. If you don't think Stephen A. is going to tee off on this topic, you're crazy.
Well,